Since we talked about Jupiter and Venus, and that part is clear, right? Now you understand where we stand and what kind of readings you can expect. You need to understand another important concept, and now is a question. So, which graha do you think rules astrology? This is a question to you. You probably have, been watching thousands of YouTube videos. You might have read articles. You might have taken courses. You might have read even the articles I post, etc. So, you should know the answer. Which graha rules astrology? That is my question. Okay. Again, I'm not talking about the skills of astrology. I'm talking about astrology as a science. Okay. Pause for a moment, see if you get it right. Okay. It's not going to be what you think it is. All right. Okay. If you got it right, great. It is the sun. It is not Jupiter. It is not Venus. It is not even Ketu. Okay. Ketu as a graha gives skills related to time devices. It could be even a time machine. All right. It could be astrology. It could be understanding time and space. Another new machine that you might invent. Okay. But Jupiter, Venus are for counseling matters, and I really wish that you demarcate that, okay? You understand where Jupiter, Venus stand and where Ketu stands. Skills are different, counseling is different, all right? But the graha that rules astrology is the sun, and there is a reason for that, and it's very important you understand that, okay? That's why I normally tell astrology is such a bad word to use, okay? Because it's not a good word to represent this science. This actual word would be Jyotish, okay? Jyotish is the science. Jyoti means light, okay? And the astrologer or even an astrology reading for that matter should shine light, and it should clarify things that are important to you at that time. Okay, and what are we shining light on? We are shining light on the chart, on the patterns that are there in the chart, and whatever the predictions that are there. Predictions are one part of it. Okay, I really don't even care about predictions these days because, again, I might have so much of skills in just predicting that most of the times I make a lot of predictions and it comes true. For me, the predictions that come true are the ones that I'm scared. I'm not scared of the predictions that don't come true. Because if I failed a prediction, it is good. All right. Although I might not get the recognition for it. But if I predict something and if it comes true, then it is really damn scary. Why do you think it is scary? Think about it. Because if I predict something and if it comes true, what does it tell you? It tells you that your life is on autopilot. Okay? It means that something bigger than you is there that is controlling the show, not you. Got it? Clear? Register that thought and put it in the back of your head somewhere. Because if someone is able to tell some things about you, even to let's say 60-50% or even 70% sometimes, if it's a very good astrologer, about your patterns, about the way your life is, okay, about the future predictions, if they nail it, right, then that is very scary because that means your life is going the way it has to go, right? Then what is the whole point of living it then? Where is the fun in all of that, right? You are either on autopilot mode or you are a zombie just walking through life, going through the events of life. Whichever you are, still both of it is not great, okay? It means that you are living a simulation, basically. This whole world is a simulation, right? So that's when I really get scared, right? The nice thing about astrology, connected to the sun particularly, is that why it is the sun? Why is it so much important to the sun? The sun is the one that shines light, right? Sun is the Parabrahma for us. Sun is God. If you're not seen God, and if you don't know who God is, right? I always tell look at the sun and the moon. Those are the two gods that you will see. Okay, and the sun is the Parabrahma Swarupa. Without sun, there is no life on this earth. He is the giver of all life, right? So sun is very important. And in astrology, like I said, he is the incarnation of dharma and satya, both. Okay, dharma means righteousness. You can say righteousness is a bad word. Dharma is the conduct that is there. Okay, and truth, satya means truth. Okay, so he is the incarnation of that. and he's going to show Jyotish, because Jyoti means light. Light is ruled by the sun. Okay, he's shining light on things. And now you tell me, as a student of astrology or an astrologer, is Sun a Kruaraa Graha or is he a Saumya Graha in astrology? Right? Sun is a Kruaraa Graha, right? So now, how do you expect astrology readings to go? Is it going to go gentle or is it going to go in a very difficult, honest, and truthful manner? Okay. Is it going to be coming out very straightforward to you in simple words as it is, or it will be sugar coated? No, it is going to feel like the heat of the sun, right? The sun is the heavenly father, like I said, he represents God. Now, my question to you is, an astrologer is just reading the script of God. If you have a problem with that script, who should you consult? You should have a debate with God, not with the astrologer, right? He's just reading the patterns as it comes. Most often, what happens is people shoot the messenger, not the one who is creating the problems. Okay? Take for another example, all the king cards that we have, 4 king cards in the deck in tarot, all 4 king cards are as much good as it can get nasty. Do you know? I will explain all of these things in the future, but in my courses, I discuss all those things in advanced way with the king cards. But all 4 king cards can do as much nasty things to you as much as good things. And that is some tough love. Okay. And the kings are representative of the Heavenly Father. Of this, of course, it is the King of Hearts that is definitive representation of the Heavenly Father. Okay. Which is God Himself. Okay. Do you think your father always was nice and kind to you? And he was always pampering you and making you feel good, validated, boosting your ego, giving you whatever you asked? No. Many times you would have got some tough love, right? So the sun in astrology is like that. You will get tough love. Astrology, you have to get tough love. Okay. Like I said, every time you come to me for a reading, and or any astrologer for that matter, and they keep telling you only the good things, and let's say they predicted a relationship for you, fantastic. Okay. After 6 months, you go back to them and say this relationship broke. What happened? And they will again tell you, oh, no, no, don't worry, another relationship will come, it will start in 1 year from now. Okay. So if they keep predicting relationships, and you keep losing one after another, you keep messing one after another, you keep bungling one relationship after another, what is happening there? Who is to blame? Astrologer is doing his job. Okay. Who is to blame there? It is you, right? Because you do not still understand that the astrologer is just doing his job of predicting, but he is not telling you what you need to do to hold on to the relationships he's predicting. You see, if he's not going to be tough with you, if he's not going to be truthful with you, if he's not honest with you the way it is in the chart, and he keeps telling you, for example, if you have a Venus Moon conjunction in the chart, or even better, if you have Saturn, Venus, Moon, Rahu conjunction in the chart, okay, in Cancer, let's say, if you have this, and you always keep doing things to muck up relationships, okay, one after another, you see relationships, you personalize relationships, or if you are a woman, you act like a nurse in the relationship, you do everything in the relationship, you have a codependent relationship, and every guy you meet is going to take advantage of that and then leave you after that. So what do you feel is going to happen? You need more and more astrology counseling to resolve your Saturn, Venus, Moon, Rahu conjunction, rather than the astrologer predicting that you will get the next relationship in 1 year. So at that stage, unless and until you as a client, you make that decision saying that, see, I don't want you to predict me when my next relationship will start. You tell me when my relationship that I will find, I will be happy in that. what do I need to do so that these patterns don't repeat in this relationship? Okay. If you are a wise person, a smart person, you don't need any astrologer for that. Okay. Because anytime a relationship ends, for that matter, if you see, let's say the past relationship ended, and you sit there, you contemplate, what is the lesson that this relationship is given me? Okay. What do I need to take forward to the next one? All right. You don't need any astrologer for that. You can do that yourself. But if you still need some counseling, you should be asking the right kind of questions to the astrologer. Okay, you should also be smart enough to do that. Rather, if you find an astrologer who is at least wise enough, smart enough to tell you the truth, and if he follows the dharma, the conduct, and he tells things as it is, right? If he is a wise person, he would tell you how to fix things as they are. He's not going to predict the next immediate relationship for you, right? I always tell you only need one good astrology reading. After that, you don't need an astrologer, okay? Because I can tell, like a dermatologist or like a owner of a salon, I can tell the more hair it grows, you come back to me, I'll keep cutting it and make more money, right? Or like a therapist or a psychologist for that matter, the more you go to them, they're only going to shrink your pockets, right? Or if you take again the dermatologist, like skin ailments, the more and more your skin gets, you know, fractured or has some issues, and the pores are blocked, and you have some acne or whatever. The more the problems are, the dermatologically it is very complex. The more the dermatologist will make money. All right. So the dermatologist is smart. He can tell you, I will treat one problem at a time rather than fixing the whole problem at the same time. He can make more money. That is how it is now today. It's a lucrative business, medical science, even astrology for that matter, and so on. But if you are smart and you meet the right kind of astrologer, you will only need one astrology reading. Okay. And you will not need anything after that, because they would do the right kind of a job if they follow the conduct of the sun, which means they tell you things as they are, and they're open about it, and they wish you the best. In fact, if they wish you the best, they have to tell you the truth, and dharma have to be followed as an astrologer. Okay. So please, these things you have to keep in mind. It is not a science ruled by Soumya Grahas. Even Ketu himself, who gives the skill, is not a Soumya Graha. Yes, boy, Venus and Jupiter are Soumya Grahas. But you saw the story I told you about Bali Chakravarti. What did he go through? You saw the story of Guru as a Jupiter. Shiva is considered the greatest of all gurus. Okay, in Dakshinamurti avatar is the greatest of all gurus. He's a Adi Guru. Okay, and how he taught lessons to Devaradasimaya. Devaradasimaya, very noble saint, yet he had to go through all those kind of trauma. Okay, you listen to Millarappa and Marpa, you will faint. In today's modern day and age, you will call that spiritual abuse and you will faint. Okay, it's not for the faint-hearted, that story. Okay, so as I told you, nobody wants to hear the truth. That is the fact of life. Nobody wants to change. I have not seen anyone change. Okay, in my entire life, I have not seen anyone change. In fact, in India, in my native language, Kannada, we say Huttuguna Sutru Ogala. That means the personality, the temperament, the qualities, the character that the person is born with at the time of birth will carry over until the time they die. Even on their deathbed, even after you cremate them and you burn them, it will not go. Okay, that is the kind of things we are talking about. That is the vasanas, that is the vrittis that we are talking about, that is there embodied in the person. All right. Why do you think it takes so much time for enlightenment? 14 years of penance, 18 years of rigorous yoga, day in and day out yoga. Okay, why do you think it takes so much time? Enlightenment, moksha, nirvana, the difficulty is not the process of, reaching that state. It is maintaining that state and burning all these garbage, baggage that we carry with us. Okay, all these vasanas, impressions, vrittis, trauma that is hidden within us from lifetimes after lifetimes. Okay, and it's not easy, just think of it, right? Change requires conscientious action. All right, how many people do you think can do that? Conscious action. Every single moment you have to be on high alert. Can you do that? No, not many people can do that. All right, it's very difficult, but if you try, you can. Okay, literally, bad habits can be broken. You see, when you want to break even a single bad habit, okay, for instance, I mean, you could have a coffee addiction. Okay, if you want to stop that, it will take at least 30, 40 days for you to break that habit if you slowly start working towards it. But instead, if you say, no, I need coffee, and slowly you go to another glass of tea, after that, it goes to alcohol, and then after that, to sleeping pills, it is only going to get worse. It will never get better. Okay, but if you are conscious enough, you can do it. A simple coffee, for that matter, is a very small thing, right? But think of lifetimes of trauma, lifetimes of influence that is there in the body, that you are acting according to that. You're acting on autopilot. Okay. So if you want to change the hardware, which is the gross reality of things, if you want to see the world in a different way, if you want the reality to change, the software inside has to change, which means you have to change internally. And the role of an astrologer is to make you work with your internal software first. Okay. He has to reprogram that, and he has to make you work with your thoughts, emotions, and your patterns. You must consider yourself really lucky if you find the astrologer that finds the problems in the chart. Okay, I really wish I had someone like that in my life. I never did. Okay, I had to learn this myself to figure these things out. All right, even a therapist for that matter, it is a bond, right? You share a bond with them because you have to gel with that therapist. You have to get that idea from that therapist that they are thinking well with you, that you're able to relate to them, they are able to process what you're telling them. Okay, because what's happening, see, you can just go on from one astrologer to another, one therapist to another, but if the root cause of the problem they can't find, then what is the use? You're just wasting money and time, right? If someone figures out this is the root cause of the problem and tells you that 50% of the problem is already solved, okay, because that is the root cause, you just have to work on that, then it's a process of working with that graha, working with those patterns to get your best results. Okay, so don't go to an astrologer when you're on autopilot and you want to live your life like a zombie. I really tell that because if you're on autopilot, there is no fun to this science. Okay, see, I tell you, I've predicted some of the most nice events in a person's life to the day, like marriage, getting a job, having a child. At the same time, I've predicted the nastiest events like a divorce or miscarriages. Miscarriages have predicted to the date. Can you believe that? It's so hard, really. And, like death, literally, I predicted that. So if you look at it, then as much as it's going to impact the client, it's also impacting me because I'm dumbfounded. See, I'm looking at it. I was able to do that. Then what does it mean to me? Because everything seems so, already predestined. I'm not able to influence them in any way. As an astrologer, I've always struggled with that because I always felt I'm trying so hard, trying so hard, trying so hard to make an influence on these people to change, to make an effort to change. Yet, the things happen the way it has to happen. Then what am I doing? It feels like that. So my work, my efforts were in vain. So many times I've felt like that. In my own life, I've felt like that. I've also felt in the life of other clients. Okay, so the reason you have to think why this works the way it works, right? Then it comes down to that question of free will versus fate. Okay, so again, I would tell 10 years ago, if you had asked me, what do you believe in, free will or fate? I would have definitely told free will. But today, if you ask me, I'm going definitely tell you that there is no concept of free will. There is only fate. Okay, everything is literally predestined. All right, but there is a certain room under which you can still operate in the room of fate, right? In that realm of fate, to change and influence things, but it requires enormous penance. It requires tapas. Tapas means you have to do a sadhana that intense that your body is burning. Tapa is the root word for tapas. Tapa means the body is burning literally. Your intensity of the sadhana is so much that it starts burning. And when it starts burning, then you are craving for that in a very strong manner. Okay, you'll see sannyasis, sadhus in the Himalayas. It's so cold, but they will be naked there doing this meditation and sadhana. How do they maintain? Because they are able to increase the heat within the body through their tapas. Okay, so you have to do tapas to change. All right. So that brings me to this concept of fate versus free will, right? So fate is the vidivada, free will is purushavada. Vada means an argument or a debate. Okay, so vidhi is fate, all right, and purusha is man or his efforts. Purushavada is our free will, basically. Vidivada is our fate. So which do you rely on? Okay. So one thing you have to really accept if you're coming to an astrologer or if you're in this field of astrology or even in spirituality for that matter is the karma siddhanta, we say. Okay. And the concept of past lives. You have to really accept that. Okay. That is if you believe in vidivada, if you believe in fate, if you are a believer in that. Okay. Why? Because Vidivada basically goes with the concept that my life today is predestined. Whatever I'm getting, the good, bad, and ugly sides of it is all coming from my past. Okay, in past lives, I've done certain good things, I get the good karma now. I've done some nasty things, I have to face the repercussions now. I've done some uglier things that I'm even witnessing now. Okay, and how do you know what is your past life? Okay, I don't know any time machine that is invented to tell you to go back and see what is your past life. Okay, I know astrology, I can see a bit of past, but I can't tell you exactly what has happened. Do you want to know how is your past? Do you really want to know how your past looked like? Where do you have to look for that? Very simple, look at your present now. Your present is your past, okay, and your present is your future as well. How you are today is determined by how you were in the past. Okay, so again, giving an example, if someone is having a very tough time in their career for that matter, okay, and they are struggling to find the right kind of a job, right kind of opportunities in this life, okay, they have been doing everything possible, but they are still struggling. So that is telling you that in the past you have struggled in the past life, okay. So how can you see what has happened in the past? Look at the few years behind them in this life itself. Okay. Now let's say they are 40 years. In this life, when they started out, they never paid so much attention to their studies. They were never interested to, have a degree for that matter. And they wasted their time in drinking, going out on a daily basis, partying in their teens, and never finished their university education. The choices that they made were not correct, right? Of course. So now going into the future, in the 40th year, they are going to struggle because they don't have a stable career and they have a family and children to take care. So now they're going to struggle there, right? So now, because they don't have a stable degree, they're not recognized in this world. And unfortunately, we are living in a world where degrees matter, right? Where education matters for you to get the job. It is all slowly changing, but it's the truth that is today. Okay. So that is the truth. So in the past life also, they might have done the same. It might be a different time, it might be a different yoga, it might be a different age, but they would have done the same for that time and age. Okay, for example, let's say this person was born 300 years ago, they might have just stayed at home instead of farming, instead of sowing the seeds and building a very nice farm and vegetation. They might have just slacked around when the seasons were right, you know, gone out, slept in front of the beach, and done nothing. Those kind of things were possible. Okay, so slacking around was one of the things that they did. So in this lifetime, the same thing continued in a different body, in a different way, in the form of parties and drinking, acting out of no goals, and having no vision for life. A person who does not have a vision for life is going to feel lost automatically when it comes to their karma, because they don't know what kind of actions they need to take, because their long term vision is lost, right? So that's basically it. You have to look at the past, look at your present. If you want to look at your future, look at your present. That's the reality, because what is today is what you will get in tomorrow, right? If I'm not going to take care of myself today, if I don't exercise, if I don't, you know, do my yoga, pranayama, I don't go to the gym, I don't do any form of activity, when I hit my 60s, of course, I will be having some ailments. Maybe I'll have some knee pain. I will have some, heart issues. I can have some, issues with my body fat. All these things can happen because I'm not taking care of myself today, right? This is the reality. So your future is right in front of you. You have the chance, right? Past we cannot fix, it is already dead and gone. Future you can still fix if you work on the present. Okay? So the astrologer is telling you that literally. When you go to him for a reading, you are getting that information. How to change the future by changing your present, by changing your present patterns. All right? So, simple example I'll tell you. Okay? Very complex case I had once when it comes to health, and that person actually was diagnosed with cancer. All right, very difficult to even tell this. So this disease, because I knew some patterns in astrology, I had seen it, and it's even medical science which sometimes fails to predict cancer disease. With astrology, with careful attention, if you are very good at it, and if you really look into the patterns in every possibilities, you can say there is a possibility. Okay, and I had done that analysis. Okay, and I found that, and they were diagnosed with cancer at the second Saturn return at the age of 60. So I had informed them, see, there could be some complications with your health. A complex ailment or a chronic ailment might set in at the age of 60 if you're not careful. So when I told this information at that stage, I had given them at least a few years in advance. I believe that time maybe a 5 6 years in advance. The whole point of that, of course, it was maybe a bit too late, because these kind of ailments, they set in the body very quickly. In its long-term ailment, cancer is not that happens today overnight. It's something that is very much long-term, right? So when I was looking at those patterns, and still there was a chance maybe to rectify and make those changes, they could have. They still had a few years ahead of them to do that, but they didn't. Or maybe it was too late that they got this information and it impacted them. But you can still see the patterns today, right? And see how you can at least make an attempt to change it in the future. Can you make that change? Honest answer from my side is very little. If you believe in Vidibada, if you believe in fate, everything is predestined, almost everything will happen the way it has to happen. It's on autopilot. Okay. The difficulty is that because knowing everything is going to manifest the way it has to manifest, you will still do what you have to do. You will exactly make way for that manifestation. You'll behave in certain ways that it will manifest. That is the sad thing. That is the harsh reality. When you as an astrologer witness that, that is when you really are going to feel the pain, because you'll feel sad that I tried so much, I tried to help, and we could see this, but nothing could be changed. All right. So that is the difficult part of it. All right. So Vidibada is in the belief of Karma Siddhanta, right? And it is in the concept that the whole life is a simulation. What modern science, modern technology is telling you today, We Indians, we knew several thousands years ago that this whole life is just a cosmic manifestation of Mahavishnu's dream. We are living in the dream of Lord Mahavishnu. Okay, that's the reality. So if you believe in that, then everything will be scripted. All you have to do is at that stage learn to surrender to an higher power. Okay. So why should you surrender at that stage if you still think everything is fated? Because now you have agreed that my life is not in my control. Okay. You take your hands off the steering wheel and you tell God to ride that car for you. It's on again like a modern day Tesla car which will go by itself. Okay, self driving car. You're already on self driving, but you assume that you were the driver this many days. But in the future, if you take your hands off the driving and trust, honestly, the trust, that bhakti has to come, that intense level of trust has to come. Your eighth house has to be so powerful for bhakti that you will believe that God will steer the vehicle in the right way. He will take you to the right destination without having one scratch on the car, neither one scratch on your body. If you trust in God so much, then you should believe in Vidhi Bada. Okay, that means you also accept the good, the bad, and the ugly sides of life. Okay, you literally have to accept everything that is presented to you as it is. No questions asked. Okay, there are saints who live like that. There are yogis who live like that. There are gurus who live like that. Okay, there are astrologers who live like that. Okay, so everyone who believes that life is just a process, the way it is coming, I'm accepting that, and I don't have any attachments to this. Those are people who believe in Vidivada. Okay, very important because they live like a lotus flower. All right, that's why in yoga, in spirituality, the lotus flower is at the pinnacle. You know, it takes the highest of the precedences. It takes so much of spotlight, the lotus flower, because you see, the lotus flower, the roots are deeply rooted in water. All right, yet it floats on the surface of the pond. It is hydrophobic. Water does not stick to the leaves of the lotus flower. Okay, and it has a tiny wax-like surface which does not make it absorb water. Okay, and it's beautiful flower. You'll see even Lord Vishnu associated with lotus flower in many photographs. You'll see Mahalakshmi, the goddess of wealth, associated with lotus flower. Literally, Mahalakshmi's favorite flower is lotus. There is a very deep philosophy in that, if you think about it. Okay, I will not get into that in this video. It's getting long already. In a future video, we will talk about that. Okay, so the lotus flower is like that. Okay, it is a flower that represents spirituality, that represents detachment, but not in the way you think of detachment, not in the Western way of detachment. Detachment does not mean don't participate in this world. Okay, don't do things and give up on everything, run away from your family. Okay, run away from your desires, run away from your dharma, run away from your job. This is not detachment. Okay, live in an ashram away from the world when you have so many responsibilities still pending in the world. Okay, so I remembered this movie from Wes Anderson. It's a very nice movie called Darjeeling Limited. You should watch that. Okay, in that movie there is a character played by a very famous actress. Actually, I forget her name, and she plays the role of the mother. She's living in an ashram while the children's life is a complete mess. Okay, her grihasthashram part of life is a complete mess, and she has abandoned that, and she goes and lives in an ashram, I think in Tibet, in that movie, if I remember that time. I'd watched it like almost 15 years ago, I think. So that one is a very nice movie which represents, that you have to take up your responsibilities and live the world for what it is, right? And you have to not run away from your responsibilities. You still are attached to it, but you have to be detached from it. How do you do that? again, to explain this karma siddhanta, you have to understand a little bit of, Indian spirituality. Okay. You have to understand the Ramayana, you have to understand the Mahabharata, you have to understand the Upanishads and so on. But I will try to explain in a very precise manner. In the future videos, we will go a little bit more deep into this. Okay. So the best example of that is Lord Rama and Lord Krishna. Okay. For me, all that I always quote, I will always use as examples will be the Mahabharata, the Ramayana, the Bhagavad Gita, and these two people, Rama and Krishna, both of them. Okay. So they are representation of this fine quality of the lotus flower. Okay. Lord Rama is born as an avatar of Lord Vishnu. Okay. He has all the powers of Lord Vishnu. But in that lifetime, he's born as a full-fledged man. It's the first avatar of a full-fledged man. And he goes and lives his life like a normal man. Okay. He never gets attached to any of the things that is happening around him. Okay. In and out of life, he lives and goes through the process of life as it is, but never gets too attached to anything. Okay. And he fulfills his duties in any given role in that epic to the best of his abilities. Okay. In India today also, all of us we look up to Lord Rama. Okay. Especially men, we always look up to Lord Rama. He's called Maryada Purushottama. Okay, which means the best among mortal men. Okay. He's Dharma Murti, incarnation of Dharma, Satya Murti. If Dharma and Satya incarnated as a human being, you will see that in Lord Rama. You will see that in the sun because he's the avatar of the sun. Okay. So why is that so important? Because in any given circumstance, all right, his life was a series of unfortunate and disastrous events, one after another. Nobody wishes to have a life of Lord Rama or even Sri Krishna for that matter. Okay. But they never, at one point, both of them swayed away from their dharma. All right. They stuck to their dharma and did whatever possible to the best of their abilities. Okay. So Lord Rama illustrates that throughout the epic in multitude of ways. Okay. Not one, multitude of ways. And because the sun is the perfect entity that is there, all right, the sun is the pure form of consciousness. He is God himself, the sun. He is the perfect entity, the perfect being that is there. Lord Rama's character is flawless, literally. Okay. No one single character flaw in Lord Rama. Of course, we all can't be that. We can't be a perfect being, but we can try to be a real being. We can look up to him. We can have his qualities that we can address and try to implement in our life little bit one by one. Okay. But he showed us the qualities of the lotus flower, where he participated in life, went through every single event of life as normal human being, but he never got too attached to it. Okay, just participated, left the body when he had to leave at the end of the yuga, and everything was fine. Okay, literally he goes through the same problems as all of us. He sits and cries when his wife is taken away. Okay, he goes into a bit of depression. He gives up hope. All those things happen. But he never swayed away from his dharma. That is the main quality of Lord Rama. Okay. I will talk a bit more about Lord Rama when I discuss the qualities of the sun at a later stage. But for now, you understand that. Sri Krishna was the same, in and out of many different roles in the Mahabharata. Okay, we had all kinds of nasty characters in the Mahabharata. We have our God incarnate, Krishna, who is called Jagat Guru. He is the guru among gurus for the whole world. He is there. He goes through so many things, all kinds of problems, political problems, war kind of situations and everything, right? And even from a young age is traumatized. Yet he goes in and out of his life as if nothing happened, unscathed, no issues whatsoever. Okay. And he never gets too attached to whatever he's doing. That is the representation of the lotus flower. Okay. These two people should be our role models to believe in if it is a Vidhi Vada that you believe in. Okay. If you believe in Karma Siddhanta, if you believe in Vidhi Vada, both of it, that means you are believing that whatever comes, the good, bad, and ugly sides of life, I accept it as they are. Okay. That is why, Kanakadasa, one of the very popular saints in Karnataka, in the 15th century poet actually, he says, Vidhi Bareda Barahava Ari Hara Virinchadi Brahmarinda Bedisalu Sadhyavilla Namma Padenu. Okay, it's a very nice verse in Kannada, and it's an ancient language also, this one. So I have to explain. He says, the script that fate or Vidhi has written, Hari, which means Vishnu, Hara, which means Shiva, Virinchi means Brahma, they could not escape, they could not overcome that. Then we normal laymen and human beings, we are not even God, right? We are just normal people. What about us? What chance do we have against that? Against the script of life, against the ginormous impact of fate. Okay. So it is just like this, we are just a small speck in this whole universe, right? The earth itself is a small speck, in that we are a nano speck. And we have so much of ego. Imagine that, right? And in top of that, we think that we will be able to overcome all these things and we'll feel like we are on top of the world always. Is that true? It's not, right? Again, it is like swimming against the tide. If you are in a tsunami like situation, your fate is like a tsunami basically, and you're swimming against that. Can you win? It's stupid to think like that. It is not even wise to think like that. So you have to learn to run away from that, or to ride the tide, and or even if the tsunami hits you, you just have to hope that I will survive somehow miraculously, like I gave that example of the self-driving car. Okay. Throughout the Indian epics, throughout the Indian, samskara, throughout the Indian shastras, even the Puranas, which is like the lowest level of it all, you'll see enormous examples of this, where you make a surrender to God and miracles start to happen. Okay. So if you are a person who believes in fate, you must make that surrender to God, which means everything is fated. Oh, just because something nice, fancy happened in my life now, oh, I got, let's say, a promotion, or I got something which is very fancy. What is it? I bought a Lamborghini car, let's say. I like cars which are very fancy like that. So I give that example. I think, oh, this is my hard earned money. All right. I made this effort to buy this car. If you think like that for only good events and something nasty happens to you, okay, same car, if it goes through an accident, and tomorrow if I tell, oh, this is fate, all right, this is bad luck, and you live that mixed reality kind of life. One thing which are nice and good, you believe that, oh, this is because of me, I did this. Ego is so pumped up, feeling that I did this. On the other hand, you have you know our good old nasty events that come regularly once in a while, saying hi to you, and you say that, oh, this is God's doing, this is my bad karma. That's not how you live. Okay, both good, bad, and ugly, all three of them are part of the fate that is there. Okay, karma siddhanta, if you follow, this is it. And these kind of people, you will also see that they don't complain. Okay, neither do they complain to astrologers, they don't complain to psychologists, psychiatrists, they don't complain about life, they live life normally. Okay, and they better off not going to anyone. They know that everything is fated, God will take care of me. They will make a very honest effort in the realm of spirituality, and they will not bitch about life, as simple as that. Okay, so this is a very nice way to live. No bullshit approach to life. All right, put everything in autopilot, and self-driving mode, but make a surrender to God. If you make a surrender to God, what happens? Why should you surrender? Because if you make that surrender, like I said, you have a pent up of build up of janmantara karma, we say, which means several lifetimes of karma. Okay, so many times this is the kind of questions that I get asked when I'm discussing spirituality with Western audience or Western people. In this life, see, I've done all nice things only from the day I've born. I've been an honest Catholic, I've been an honest Hindu, I've been an honest Muslim. I never hurt anyone. Okay, I only did the good things. All right, I gave charity, I took care of people in my life. All right, I did all the nice things possible. You name it, whatever your moral values are, you name them. Okay, they did that, but yet I'm facing problems. I'm going through a lot of issues. Okay, my health is not good. All right, my career is not moving forward. My wealth is depleting. My children are hopeless. They have not gone anywhere in their life. This is the kind of questions that come. So the answer is all fine. In this life, you have done something good. So maybe next lifetime it will improve, or in this lifetime, some things will ease the negative karmas that you have. Okay, but who is going to answer your janmantara karma, which means we normally say that is your grandfather's um, wealth. Okay, the inherited wealth that you have, and that grandfather is not your literal grandfather, that is you. Okay, that you have been inheriting, piling up, painting up, just building small bits, and now it looks like a huge mountain of a karma that you have. Who is going to answer to that? Okay, it is not one lifetime of things that we're looking at, right? I'm not just narrowing down, zooming into this life and telling you, oh, this is what it is. No, we are looking at lifetimes of karma that we're dealing with. So that kind of vasanas and vrittis, I'm glad you're suffering this life. Okay, I'm glad, honestly. If you ask me, I see some very tough 7 cards, 5 cards, and 3 cards. I'm glad you run them in cards. Okay, I'm glad some Saturn returns make you feel the heat. Okay, I'm glad Mars, comes in and wrecks things up in your life, because all those times are burning those karmas. Okay, as simple as that. Y- you know, as much as many people love to fancy Jupiter and Venus for their counseling, I'm glad that it is those times you will get clients in your life when Saturn Mars kick their butts. Okay, and I'm glad that it happens, including myself. I tell this to myself. Whatever I tell, I go through. I all go through the same for myself. Okay, because that is when you will grow. That is when you will live the life that you have to live. Okay, most of my clients come at the Saturn return, Saturn maturation age, Rahu Ketu maturation age, second Saturn return, then Rahu Ketu returns, Mars maturation age. Okay, so again, you might know these are all Kruaraa Grahas. Mars matures 27, 28, Saturn return 28, 29 ish. Saturn maturation age 35, 36. Rahu Ketu 41, 42. Maturation age for Rahu. 45 for midlife crisis age. 47, 48 for Ketu. Okay, and another age, that is second Saturn return at 60, and then you'll see when the cards change from the sun card to the moon card, which is at 51, 52, 52 actually. That age also you will get clients, a lot of them. Okay, and sade satis, I have all discussed these things in the past. Okay, but I'm glad, I'm honestly glad. Okay, and I'm glad that you go to astrologers. I'm glad you go to therapists that time. Okay. And I'm glad these grahas kick your butt, literally. Because that's when you will learn. Because you will not learn. Like I said, you are living on autopilot zombie mode. Someone has to come and shake you up, wake you up. They are going to trigger an alarm. They're, like Saturn especially is going to set the alarm on, danger mode, I think. Like it'll be like a fire alarm, literally telling you that you have less time on this earth. You really have to act now. If you don't act, you're going to die soon. Okay, that's an emergency like Mars, of course, but Saturn is also part of the equation, right? So he is going to make aware that you have limited time, you are a mortal species, and that is good. Otherwise, when will you do what you have to do? All right. So, in my opinion, if I chose the grahas that are going to show counseling, I always choose Saturn and Mars. I will not choose Jupiter and Venus. Okay, that is my way of life, of course, my way of choosing. And just, the human nature is such a nature that they will feel happy when they see other people suffering. Okay, that is the way we feel happy always. Oh, to give you a comparison, right? Because other person has his life even worse, my life is better. That is how we always feel. So just to make you happy that my life is not anything great, I'm going to tell you that even me, I had a very horrible sade sati recently. All right, and my spread is filled with number threes, number fives, and number sevens and nines. All odd numbers, especially the nasty ones, the fives and sevens. It's filled with planets. All right. Just to be honest with you, because I hope that makes you happy. All right. I hope that gives you some insight into what we also go through. We are not superhumans as astrologers that, I will wave some magic wand and tell my life is great. I can fix it with some miracles. And no, right, at the end of this discussion about fate and free will, I will get into some important things as well, and in the next few minutes you'll see why. Because the thing is, you have to remember that we really cannot live this fantasy life that I have to always only hear good things from people. Everyone always has to boost my ego, tell you're great, you look good, your life will be better. Okay, how many times do you want to hear these things? Literally tell me. How many times you want to keep only listening to the good things that are there? But do you think every time in your life you'll only keep getting good? Okay, don't expect that. It's not going to happen. Okay, this is not the reality. So these grahas, they will shake you up, and that is when the vidivada, you will that thing gets activated, that fate gets activated. You'll say that finally, oh, I'm not the one who is doing anything here, and there is limited time on this earth, and I need to act. Okay, God is calling the shots. Okay, those things become very clear. All right, well, that's something to really keep in mind. And I like this. Okay, if you ask me, what is your belief, whether you believe in fate or whether you believe in Purusha Prayatna, which means our free will, I believe in Vidivada. Okay, it's as simple as that. Like I said, 10 years ago, if you had asked me, I would have given a different answer. But today, my answer is that I believe in Vidivada. Okay, as simple as that. Honestly, I am no stress. I have a very calm, peaceful life now, relying on that. Okay, why do I believe in that? If you also ask, I've gone through enough external and internal experiences within myself to realize that it is stupid to swim against the tide, as simple as that. Okay, so you have to work internally to make changes happen. And with astrology, with spirituality, or without astrology or without spirituality, the answer is the same. Okay, many times I don't even need to look at a chart. All right, it is so clear that when they come to me for a reading, just looking at an omen around me and the way I am feeling, okay, or something happening in the environment, I just pick up and tell the answer. You cannot imagine how many times I've predicted the age of a person when they come to me for a reading, just knowing that this planet will be afflicted with this graha in their chart. Because I know I don't need to rely on astrology, I don't need to rely on spirituality for that. It just comes to you if you're so in tune with it. So these kind of experiences have made me realize that there is something better, which is bigger, and that is God. The supreme consciousness is there. You are nothing. Okay, that's very simple to understand. So you might also ask me again, then why do you do astrology if you believe in Vidivada? That is my karma, that is my dharma in this life. Okay, I cannot run from that. For whatever reason, the good things I've done or bad things I've done, I don't know, in past life I've gathered the skills, all right, and God has made me carry over those skills into this life. He expects me to work with people, help people, and to use those skills to understand time and space. That skills have carried over. I'm just performing my dharma and karma, as simple as that. Okay, I have nothing to do with that other than doing those two acts of dharma and karma.